Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Smart Cities Brokerage event. My name is Richard Tufts, I'm the director of ERIN, and we're just going to do a quick 10-minute presentation, just to give you 5 minutes from me, 5 minutes from another colleague, just to give you an indication of, because we have a captive audience, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about ERIN and why you're here. Basically, what we're doing here, ERIN is a Brussels-based platform of regions, and what we're doing today is exactly why you're here. It is the strengthening regional research and innovation capacities, and we're doing that by project development, policy shaping, and profile raising. And all those, certainly those two areas today are vitally important, which is the development of projects for the future. We're very, very interested in this area as ERIN, as a network. We're already working a lot on smart specialization, and we're already also involved in another EIP, European Innovation Platform, on water. So just to say we've come a long way on our journey, and this is, in a way, this is a very good example of where we've come from our journey, because this is the biggest brokerage event we've done this year. Basically, ERIN is working around this 4 Ps: policy, as I've said, projects, profile, but we couldn't do anything around this unless we were working in partnership. And this is a very, very good example of how we work in partnership, working with ERIN. And I put some slogans there, or little logos there. Catalonia, where some of you will be going this afternoon to the Catalan office. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But of course, a big thank you for Vleven, where we are today. This is the Flemish representation in Brussels. And of course, we're working with the Smart Cities and Communities platform, European Commission, and we couldn't do any of that without people coming together in a partnership. Just to say that we have a lot of working groups in ERIN. We have 13 working groups, which we're open to everyone, thematic areas. And of course, today we're looking particularly around the Smart Cities, Communities and Regions working group. And I've put on there the leaders, or the co-leaders. There's Eindhoven, East and North Finland, Skåne office, Cantabria, Lombardy and Catalonia. All these people are involved in setting up this event today, so we thank them very much for that. This is probably not the last event, because we still go next week. We have 2 events next week. But basically, we're a very busy organization, and we've done 116 events this year. And most of those events you'll see are going around working group activities. And this is where we're coming up to our brokerage events. So this is one of our brokerage events where we've been doing this year. We've had one on nanotechnology. We've done a very good one on water with the WSSTP, the water technology platform. Energy last week. Health this week earlier. And today, Smart Cities, which is our biggest event so far. So we're very, very pleased to see so many of you here today. And on next year, we have our bioeconomy working brokerage event on the 16th of January. So who is here today? You will see from the participants list which you've got over there, and on the back window you'll see some examples of the groups. So if you're not sure which group you're in or which project, make sure you check that. But I just checked a little bit of a rough analysis who's here, and our record people are Spain. So Spain is the winning country at the moment. But then you see we've got good representatives: Italy, Belgium, UK, Germany, France, Netherlands, Greece, Norway, Sweden, Finland. We've got 24 countries are here today. So that's a very good, when you think 28 in the EU, and we've got 24 here. And some of the companies, because this is another area where we're very interested in working more and more on this sort of triple helix, where regions working with companies, working with business. And we've got Atos, Fraunhofer Institute, Bouygues, Renault, Philips, Veolia, the EIB, European Investment Bank are here, Enel, Thales, CEA, EDF, Siemens, and there are others, and apologies for those I haven't all mentioned. If you haven't been mentioned, you have to speak louder in the coffee breaks. Just a quick thanks. Before last point, I've already said this, but thanks to all those people. And remember, the Smart City Working Group also links in our ICT Working Group, Energy Working Group, and Transport Working Group. Some of them are here today. Just last piece of information on the afternoon sessions. All the sessions of projects will be here, except except round 1 projects 5 and 7 will go to Catalonia, and round 2 projects 9 and 11. The Catalan office is not far, it's Rue de la Loi 227, it's a 5-minute walk, but you will be guided. Don't worry, you can't get lost, it's not far away, so you will be guided there for the afternoon sessions. And I think that's all I need to say. Just like to thank the Erin team, of course, because they're very much behind us. Thank Marco and Andrea and Annette, who have been doing the backup work and doing all the registrations and the badging and so on.
My name is Andrea Strachinescu. I'm head of unit in Directorate General for Energy, responsible for new energy technologies, and smart cities and communities is the file in our portfolio. I'm very pleased to see that the room is it's full, and it was mentioned several. I mean, almost all the European countries are represented here. You know that behind smart cities and communities, we have a political document, a communication which was launched in 2012, and the main objective of the communication is to facilitate the rollout of innovative solutions in cities, communities all around Europe. We started with 3 sectors: energy, transport, and ICT. It's a starting point, we need it, and after that we'll build on this. We like to see for the first 6 years an important number of lighthouse projects deployed in Europe. You have a very good opportunity today to meet partners, to meet cities from all around Europe. Try to go beyond the usual boundaries, try to discover partners all around Europe. I think it's an excellent opportunity, and try to build on this. We like to see projects which are very ambitious, which look at the whole Europe, try to not to stick to 2 cities or 2 countries, but to go beyond this. That's for sure that the most ambitious the project, the better it will be appreciated and evaluated by experts. So try to be ambitious today and find the right partners. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a successful event.
Of course, there was a similar program in the transport side, Civitas, and then there are other programs like those in ICT. Since the Concerto, we have evolved, and actually we have started in 2011 to think about the smart cities and communities. And in 2012, we had the first call on smart cities, which was called Smart Cities, where we have treated actually separately 4 areas. First, we supported the planning actions in the cities, and then we had demonstrators either in the areas of buildings, or in the area of heating and cooling, or in the area of smart grids. In 2013, actually, we were going a little bit more ambitious, and we have tried actually to integrate in the energy sector the 3 areas. And we had only these demonstrators combining buildings, heating and cooling, and smart grids. From the point of view of the budget, so in the first year, in 2012, we have allocated 75 million euros, and you see there on the slide few figures regarding, for instance, the refurbishment surface, how many, which was the amount allocated per city. We have increased this quite a lot actually in 2013, where we have allocated 100 million euro from DG Energy side, DG Connect, so the taking care of ICT was allocating also 100 million euros for the ICT projects. And we increased actually the surface, for instance, of the buildings which were proposed as measures to 140,000, for instance, square meters per project. And indeed, the financial support per project increased. So what we are going to do this year? So we are going to be even more ambitious, and then we have to look to integrate between these three sectors, energy, transport, and ICT. And indeed, this will be probably complex projects. We have experience, and my colleagues actually will talk about this experience. So what means integration? So it was already probably difficult to integrate across the energy sector between the buildings, the electricity grids, and the heating and cooling grids. But now, so we have even more this challenge. So what it will mean for us, the integration across the three sectors. The first area where we will look, it's low energy districts. What will mean? It will mean that we would like to see mainly energy efficiency measures, refurbishment of the existing buildings, because this is the reality of Europe, probably with the focus on residential sector. Combined with the use of local sources, so renewables, both heating and cooling and electricity, as well as the networks which have to go into this type of area. We are looking here at the level of the district, so there will not be single buildings, so we have to look at a certain scale. Then the integrated infrastructure. Here we are going to talk actually about how a city can evolve and can reduce, for instance, the cost for the infrastructures which exist in a city. So being in the energy sector or being in the transport and ICT sector. Of course, it can start from planning, but it has to be done in such a way that the life of the city continues to be normal and there is no disturbance. And then, of course, we are going to talk about the urban mobility. So this is the link with the energy sector. For instance, I will give the example of the use of electrical cars and the implications for the electricity networks, the charging point, and so on. But also softer measures like passing from let's say, car users to, let's say, other means of transport. But Henrietta will give actually more details about what we would like to have in smart cities and what is the difference actually with the challenge in transport challenge in the Horizon 2020. From the point of view of the organization, so these are the three main areas. All of them has to be tested, demonstrated in a single city, because what we would like to have is actually to have this optimization across these three sectors. So what measures we can take up to what level. And I will give an example. For instance, I have seen an example from the use of energy efficiency measures. It was, I think, a city in Netherlands. And the use of district heating. So up to which point actually makes sense to have refurbishment and still to use the district heating system. So we are looking actually to this type of solutions. From the point of view of the consortia, so we, as in the 2 years before, we are looking for these partnerships between industries and cities. Of course, this can also be done with the research community, with the consultants, because they have also experience. In one project, we would like to have 2-3 lighthouse projects where we will have these demonstrators. So this is a difference with the last year where we have asked only for one city. And then in order to get this geographical coverage, which Andrea mentioned before, we would like to have these 2-3 follower cities. These cities will have to be involved from the beginning in the project to look at the solutions proposed in such a way that they will be able afterwards to replicate and to customize actually these solutions to their local conditions. And the vector to do this is probably the industry which has the interest actually to propose these solutions afterwards, probably less the interest of a city who would like to replicate these solutions in, maybe can be the case, but usually is not the case. So probably the industry, being utilities or being the manufacturers, will have this interest. What we would also like to have, and this we learn from experience, is that we have, so these projects should be embedded in the urban plans. So that means that the municipalities are behind these projects, that they are going probably to further on replicate them in other districts of the city, because if a city it's big, then we will take only one, so parts of the city, so it will not be the whole city which will test this solution. Furthermore, I would like to mention that we look at innovation. So these projects can be quite large, but we can support only the innovation. The innovation for us will mean, so not the development of technology as such, but actually the use of that technology or those technologies of these three sectors in real scale. So we would like to test what is happening with the best state-of-the-art of the existing technologies in the areas I have mentioned, which are tested and integrated in real environments in the cities. Then we would also like to see this funding from other parts secured, because we are able to intervene only into this innovation side. So the project can also have, and will have probably a commercial part. So we would like to see actually how the financing plan it's made. So these other sources can come from the city, from the banks, but can also come for instance, and we will try to see how it's going to be from cohesion policy, for instance. And what we would like to have, it's actually solutions which can stand afterwards and can be bankable. So therefore, what is important is to have, to look also at the payback periods. So not to have 20 years, because probably this will be too long time for a bank to finance afterwards these type of solutions, but to something which is more reasonable. So I would just say 7 to 8 years. Here it's a little bit about the administration. Normally these projects are quite, let's say, take some time, probably 3 to 5 years. We would also like to have the monitoring of our results. And then, actually, if you have questions regarding how we take the cost into account, I think my colleague Alex Cotronaras will answer to this type of questions. What I would like to mention, and it's also based on our experience, we would like to have this commitment of the municipalities, which means that if there is a change, a political change of the mayor, still the project continued to exist, because we have this actually experience where the project stopped because of this lack of commitment. These are where the projects which we expect actually in this category, which is called Lighthouse. So which will be large demonstrators at real scale, close to the market. And then I have mentioned that we have a smaller, less in funding actually, proposals regarding the standards, the network of public procurers, the data collection, and the price competition. Here it's actually, you can see a little bit where we intervene in the Smart Cities and Communities call. So it will be Horizon 2020, and these are projects close to the market. Then the commercial rollout can be achieved, for instance, with the structural fund. And I have given the example of replication at the level of the city. So if we can test solutions in a district, then we would like maybe to see the replication plan you propose, where actually you will replicate this solution. And maybe there is the possibility to use the structural funds. And the same if we have a test in one city, maybe the region, because it's maybe in similar economical condition, or you want to push a certain specialization in that region, can be further used. So in summary, Lighthouse projects, most of the support with 3 messages: innovate, so not have the same proposals as we have seen in Concerto or in Civitas, but it's about this, let's say, integration. Then also replication. This is also very important for us because we would like actually to see these markets taking up. The fact that actually the proposed demonstrators are embedded in the urban plans, so they have to come with a proposal, the plans of the municipality, that you have follower cities, commitment of the partners. I have mentioned, for instance, the commitment of the municipality and the financial viability. I thank you for your attention.
In my presentation, I will discuss only the building part of the smart cities communities, and I will not go to the horizontal parts which are common for all the chapters of this topic. So we are talking about the nearly zero energy and low energy districts. You have 3 main components in this topic, and when we have all these 3, I suggest to you by experience that you have to deal with them with the right balance. You should not have one component very pronounced and the others lagging behind. They should be balanced. And you might ask me, in which respect balanced? I mean, is it budget? Is it effort? There is no unique answer. My suggestion is that you should deal with them seriously and consider them seriously, all 3 of them together. It is very obvious in a proposal when you go through during the evaluation if you have a good elements for one of the 3 parts or for 2 of the 3 parts, and you don't go deep enough in the 3rd one, either because you don't describe it or you don't know what to describe. So, I mean, my suggestion is to have the right balance, to consider all 3 elements together and have a homogeneous proposal in all 3 of them. I will go again very quickly through the requirements that you can read in the call. I don't want to insist so much on the text of the call because you can read it yourself. I will try to give some added value to what it is written in, especially with my experience during the evaluation of the proposals. So first of all, we are asking for nearly zero or low energy districts. In the buildings, I must admit that having worked for years in this sector, in the year we are very simplistic in this particular call because we know that you have to combine several aspects together, and we didn't think of adding more burden to you to ask specifications of the buildings, very, very demanding specifications, or be very concrete. But nevertheless, we ask for nearly zero buildings, and when we ask for this, we mean nearly zero buildings. You laugh, but during the evaluation, I have seen nearly zero buildings of 250 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. And this, I was wondering why did they bother to make such a proposal? I mean, when we ask for a lighthouse project, we mean that we have to show to the others what is feasible and what we should achieve, with a relatively low budget. We cannot afford to support with the limited amount of money that we have such type of projects, which are normal projects. I understand. The global idea is good, the intentions are good, but we cannot support a project of 250 kilowatt hours per square meter per year, okay? So when we say nearly zero, we know that you might not go directly to zero, but nearly. The refurbishment should be cost effective. It is true that in the proposals that we have seen in the recent years, you follow this. It is understandable. We don't want fancy buildings. We want something that could be replicated easily in masses. And we ask for existing buildings. You should give some special focus to the residential buildings. We also think that this is the future. This is where the mass replication could be happening in the future. And we insist on these residential buildings. So nevertheless, if in the same area you have some other type of buildings, they could be accommodated in the program, in the project. And as we initially mentioned, the nearly zero energy buildings, if this production, the low production that you might still need for the buildings for their use, you should use as much as possible energy from local resources. It is also thought that if we find solutions which will not disturb too much the tenants of the buildings during the works, it would this type of works could be easily replicated. So we also ask to have methods which will not disturb the tenants during the building works. Use of sustainable materials, and you should also use ICT tools and monitoring devices for the buildings. We also ask for the first time, it is true, I mean, until now we have been asking only for 1 year, now we ask for 2 years of monitoring. We believe it is really important, it is what the Commission gets back from this project. It is also important for you, for the people who work on the project, but also for the dissemination of the projects. We ask for 2 years, we would welcome any commitment which goes beyond this. I insist on this. To my surprise, in projects, in running projects, the monitoring period, the monitoring phases were not very well, not in all cases. But I sense that the participants were not so much interested on the monitoring, and they sometimes disregard it, or they try to shorten the monitoring period. For us, it's very important, and whatever you describe in the monitoring part of your proposal will be read in very carefully, as the rest of the proposal, of course. Now, for some of you who might have already participated in the past, you might be familiar with this form, which is called Building Energy Specification Table, and in which you describe while you make the proposal, so in the proposals level, you describe the type of buildings that you are going to refurbish. It is a form which should be used for every type of building, not for each one of the buildings, but if you have one kind of buildings, then you need one form. If you have 2, 3 different type of buildings with different envelope and different construction, then you might need to fill more forms. The form will be found in the general annexes when the call will be published with the general annexes. And it will be in electronic form to be introduced in the proposal. In this form, for the ones that you are not familiar with it, you specify the specifications of the buildings, how the building is at this current situation, what measures you are going to take, windows, insulation, ventilation, whatever. So you describe what measures you are going to take. You also compare them with the national regulations for the new buildings, so to have a comparison. Then you calculate yourself your building energy performance, so how the building will, what type of energy it will use, and how much it will save compared to the initial situation. And then you have a part of renewables to indicate any contribution which will come from renewable energy sources. This table we have been using now for for about 10 years. Nevertheless, this year it is much more important. It is important for the evaluators to have a direct comparison between the proposals, so to have exactly the same information for all the buildings. But it is also important for us because, as I will tell you a bit later, it is the basis of the calculation of the support you are going to get if the proposal is accepted. So let's say the completion of this table, it is quite important, and the calculation of the energy use, it is equally important, and it will be verified. I mean, we will check it very carefully as well during the evaluation. So, as it was the case in the past, and for various reasons which had to do with the convenience of the contractors, but also the Commission monitoring and control, we do not support the buildings as all the other components in the framework program, but we give a specific support per square meter built or refurbished. In principle, what we want to support is the additional effort that one will do, above the national regulations or above the current practice for this similar measures that you might go through. I will present to you the formula which is to be used. It will, of course, appear in the general annexes for you to see and use. We take in this formula some standard fixed values which we have found through experience from past statistics from the projects and relevant studies. And in principle, it is not a fixed price for all, as it used to be in the 7th framework program, and this is the new element here. Each one of the buildings will receive a different support per square meter, depending on the ambition of the rehabilitation measures. So the basic formula is this. It is quite simple. I mean, you will see it's not something. We use the standard cost of euros to save 1 kilowatt hour. The estimated cost of kilowatt hours saved per square meter per year, and the standard payback period in years. And we multiply these three factors. And the figures that you see, the red figures, are the ones that are the variables. You put these figures through your calculations from the best table. The cost of 0.1 euros per square meter per kilowatt hour, it is a standard. You will have to use this figure. The 10 years of payback period, it is standard. You have to use this. So from the best table, you take your energy use of the building and you put it in the formula. As you see, it is a simple thing. Whatever you save, this is the amount of money of euros that you will get as eligible cost. The support will not be exactly this. It is based on 70% of support. So if you save 100 kilowatt hours, the eligible cost per square meter per year, the eligible cost is 100 euros per square meter, and you are going to receive 70 euros per meter, but for the conditioned areas. I mean, we will not support the parking spaces or the areas which are not, let's say, conditioned. I will give you some statistics from the past year, because you might hear ambitious wishes about huge cities coming to the project, but let's say these are the statistics from last year. Of course, we didn't ask for so much, so big projects, and we didn't have exactly the same components in the projects, but still, I mean, it is an indication of what the market or you could put together and suggest to the Commission. So in the 2013 smart cities communities projects, the ones that we accepted, because we received several proposals, about 15, and we accepted 4. We supported 17 sites, different sites in different European countries. The area, the buildings area ranged from 90,000 square meters to 2,008 square meters, 1,000 square meters per project. The average reduction of energy use was 100 kilowatt hours per meter, square meter per year. The eligible cost was at the time fixed to 100 euros per square meter, and the support was 50 euros per square meter. So it means that if you had the same project with the average of reduction of energy use, then you will get a bit more money than support than it was the case until now. But of course, it depends on the ambition of the building. You could get less if the building is not good enough. But I tell you, I mean, there should be also a balance. If the building is not good enough, then most probably you will not be the winners. I just want to suggest, to make some recommendations. It's not written in the text, but based on my experience from the evaluations. You should stress the innovative element in the project and the measures to be taken. It is happening many times that the experts will see a flat reproduction of the same text about the buildings and how good they will be. They are really thirsty to find an innovative element which will be implemented. And I believe that I see them very, very happy when they find some innovative element different than all the others, because you can imagine they will see roughly 45 sites, yes, now. and they are, I would say, bored. I mean, with the same things all the time. And good intentions, good projects, but if they don't see a vivid innovation, something which will draw their attention, I mean, this would be a positive element for the proposal. Definitely, I mean, it will help in the evaluation. You should be very clear and specific on what you are going to do in the buildings. Many times you suggest innovative elements from the first bullet point, but you don't indicate to how many buildings this will be implemented. It is a usual problem for the evaluators. They don't know to what extent they will be implemented. Avoid scattering of buildings in a big area. It would be better to have the buildings in one concentrated area so that we can monitor and see the results easier, and also the networks between them. Avoid conditional parts of the project that you leave open if it will be done, pending on a decision which will be taken later. Provide concrete data on the existing buildings. Sometimes we don't find this information very clear in the proposals. Include photographs. I mean, most of the times it's happening, but not always, and I wonder why. I mean, it is easy to take pictures of the buildings for the evaluators to have an image of how these buildings look like, to have aerial photographs in the proposals to see the area and the repartition of the buildings. It is always useful. Don't think that if you increase the number of sites above the one that you are already requested to have, you will have an added value. To my understanding, it might be a drawback for your project, because if all the projects or the sites are not good enough, then you will lose in the overall evaluation. I suggest to have better sites rather than more sites. Draft the proposal as much as possible to have a clear and easy reading. Many times I get comments from the evaluators, oh my God, I mean, this was very difficult to read. I mean, it is better to avoid this type of problems and avoid inconsistencies. Many times, I mean, they lose trust in you if they see that you have different figures here and there. Present clear breakdown of cost. Many times, again, we are wondering how they came to this conclusion, how did they came to this cost. I mean, it is better to have a breakdown of cost as detailed as possible so that we all understand where this budget goes, especially in this type of budget. I mean, we have quite an important budget in this type of project. Indeed, avoid non-justified high person months and costs. It will kill your proposal. I mean, if not only this, but small elements like this, which make the evaluator lose the confidence in you, then it might be a drawback. I mean, for whatever reason, if you lose 1 or 2 points in overall criteria, then you lose the project. I mean, you will not get support. We have such a good quality of projects that we can find projects of almost perfect quality. If you start losing points here and there, then you will not be successful. And I insist again, plan and comprehensive and monitoring program. It will be evaluated, and it is something that we give very much importance to this.
Of course, the global situation is that we are all looking for the objectives that were identified some years ago, the 2020. As it was mentioned by Norela, this case and this call is really focusing on enlarging and embracing other activities than the traditional ones that were conditioned in the past through the concerto and the calls in 2012 and 13. We are looking really to merge and to try to make benefit of the different main elements of the city. ICT is a central, I think, element. I will come back to this in a few seconds. And as was mentioned previously by Norela, industry and cities are core participants. Now, some words about what we are thinking about this integrated infrastructure, because the core of the idea is really to create links between the different components of the city. On this picture, you can see that we are looking to connect in fact, the demand with the supply. The demand, meaning the consumers that brought, can be a residential, as it was mentioned by Alexandros, or can be other types of buildings, of course. It could be also commercial buildings and things like that, although the focus is on the residential ones. And to connect and supply energy to this, we are looking to a very, I think, clever system that might be delivering power, so electricity, heat, and cool through either centralized systems that will be generating this energy or decentralized systems. And we connect all this supply and consumption through networks that might be connected to the ICT system. One important element that I would stress on is that in order to achieve benefits and efficiency in the overall system, you need to think about storage. Electricity storage, but heating, cooling storage. I would not say more than that. You might have innovative approaches to this, and it's not the role of the Commission to tell you what you have to do. Now, some words about the aspects. Again, what we are looking for is a concrete combination and relationship between the different elements I was stressing on in the previous graphs by creating really physical infrastructure between the district heating electricity systems connected to the buildings. Eventually, I think it would be a must that you are looking for industrial parks, because we know from past experiences that, and from the current life, that there are potential exploitable really sources of remaining waste energy in the industrial parks. So to connect to industrial parks, and as said, all this should be combined with a clever and powerful ICT instrument. So in other words, you understand that we need synergies between all these different characteristic items in order to achieve the overall goal, which is, of course, reduction of cost, reduction of energy consumption, and improve of performances, and use of less natural resources. I would not go to the details that were presenting before, but the core element is we are looking for to deploy this in 2-3 cities at large scale. Large scale mean what? You have some example given by Alexandros about the residential dimension in retrofitting or new buildings. And what I would stress on is that to feed the energy to these areas, you need to have a really detailed information about how you are feeding it through the district heating systems, and to provide really quantified data and rigorous data that is current with the buildings you are looking to be supplied with the energy. This element was, I think, this was one of the weakness of the information given in the last call, because we were not always really clear with what was the dimension of district compared to the residential area to be supplied. Order of magnitude, you should, of course, think about a current relationship of performances of buildings. In other words, to have buildings, in my opinion, below 50 kilowatt, of course, below 50 kilowatt hours per square meter, and to relate this consumption with the real supply of district heating, cooling, and electricity generation. It was also mentioned before, you are not starting from a first idea. You should be already in a phase where you have already thought about this kind of structure. That means we are not looking to planning and things like that. We need to proceed with a very advanced implementation of activities. Yes, some requirements, as was already mentioned by Norella. Of course, we need the authority commitment, of course, and we need, of course, also industry involvement and commitment. These are key elements. we need also to have clear views about how you are co-financing. I would not go into details, but this is also something that stemmed from the last call evaluations, because, and during the last negotiation of the call 2000, for example, 2012, it was critical issues related to these basic elements. I can tell you that one of the projects was really in very difficult situation during negotiation because of political change in the country and in the region. And this is not supportable because it took more than 1 year to negotiate a project like that. Yes, I would highlight some tips also according to the experience I was accumulating the last years. Yes, I'm finishing. The coordinator, of course, the coordinator is a central element in the project. You have to select somebody who has really successful and confirmed, I would say confirmed, previous track records with good experience of HC rules and activity. Be very selective with a partnership. Do not include elements or partners that you don't know, because this is at some point in time detrimental when we go to negotiations. And also a good tip would be, if by any problem or trouble you have to change a little bit your proposal in the negotiation phase, be prepared to this in advance. So have a second plan. The plan B will be maybe of use and of usefulness. Thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I look to this audience here, I feel proud. You make me feel proud, because more than 50% of the person in this room, I know them for a long time and they know me for a long time. I feel proud because when more than 10 years ago we started with the very first ideas of smart cities, when it still had another name, I would never have dreamed that we would come to such a fantastic success and that it would be so strong as today. And today I would like to, not to speak about smart cities directly, but indirectly. We had my previous speakers who spoke, Norla spoke about policy components, José spoke about infrastructures, Henriette will speak later about mobility, Alex spoke about the buildings. I want to show that we speak also now about infrastructures outside smart cities, but which are very strongly linked with smart cities. And it is not a hazard if it is linked for a very simple reason. In FP7, when we started, we had no activity about the grids and about storage, and we have built it up slowly and slightly, and today we have done nothing else but more or less copying smart cities in the spirit. And for probably a larger number than you believe, it could be interesting if you do not succeed in building up a real, powerful, ambitious smart cities that fulfills the ever-growing ambitions of the European Commission. Maybe you could submit a project in the grids or in the storage. Okay. And in the same way as Alex, I do not want now to read all the details of the work program. You know how to read. I show you the slides that you have shown in the info days. I just want to make a very quick presentation of those slides, and then I want to discuss with you about the links. So I want to share with you the things which you cannot read on the internet, and I think that is more or less the aim of this meeting today here. So you see we have projects on the electricity distribution grid, which we opened in 2014, on the transmission grid 2015. We have a topic on small-scale storage 2014, and 2015 large-scale storage. And we spend about, for 2014, 100 million euro and 100 million euro also for 2015, rather equilibrated. In the same way you see here that we keep more or less the equivalence 50-50, was 60-40, 60-45 on the electricity grid and on the storage. Here I would like to say that we have the strongest link with smart cities. If you look to the distribution grid, I did not write electricity distribution grid. That is not a mistake, because you can imagine a lot of added value by integrating the heating distribution grid or the cooling distribution grid with the electricity distribution grid in the same way as you would do it within, for example, smart cities without buildings. On the storage, it is exactly the same logic, because on storage, I give you an example. I've seen some cases in Germany where batteries in individual homes are subsidized in order to increase the self-consumption of photovoltaics in the house. And there were examples where some people have used the electricity stored in the batteries for later on producing hot water. I do not believe that this is very wise use of a battery, because storing of heat is about 100 times cheaper than storing of electricity. So the same concepts can be applied there again. So here you see the call, LC5 on the mesh HVDC offshore grid that you see here. It's certainly something which I do not believe that it would be of interest for people who work in smart cities. Transmission grid and wholesale market, well, we do have a logic that we want to make sure that, for example, we have an integrated system of the energy from the wind turbine up to the plug into the home. Not from the wind turbine up to the transmission grid. Storage, large-scale storage, I think we can go very fast just for being complete, and I mention it here. Here on the distribution grid, here you see more or less the kind of proposals that we want to receive. And I want to spend a little bit more time, if the chairman allows me, on this slide here. I know that time is your worst enemy, sorry for that. Development ICT tools and services for smart grids. That could be a part of a real full smart grid project, or it could be as a self-standing. One of the reasons why we opened this topic is because in the past we have seen many people coming to our offices with such a project, and they said, this is my understanding of smart cities. We said, well, sorry, you are not eligible. And today we try to address it. The second topic, where we ask you to demonstrate innovative demand response. Do you want this to be as a self-standing project, or do you want this to be integrated into smart grids, smart cities? You decide. We also have the colleagues, especially of DG Connect, who want to develop cheap smart meters. And they say they want to achieve less than 100 euros, but that again is the same logic as in smart cities. If you come with less than 100 euros, project is eligible, but I'm pretty sure that you would not win, because I'm pretty sure that some of your competitors would be able to come with much, much lower numbers. So never forget the same logic. There's a huge difference between being eligible for submission and being chosen for funding. And I don't believe that anybody, not a single person in this room here, wants to spend a few €100,000 on preparing a project knowing that he would never win. So make sure that you always understand about the competitive nature of our calls, and that you make sure that you deliver better than the competition. We don't know how good the competition is, but that's the basic principle of the competition. So maybe I can jump this slide here, just in order to be complete, because the chairman told me to be as fast as possible. Same thing for this slide here. There's no links, just for completeness. You find all the details in our work programs, and there will be more information days on those subjects specifically. For those who are interested, have a look. Time is too short this year, but next year we will make some information days on those subjects. That was just for being complete with that. Large-scale energy storage is more or less the same, in order just to be complete. But what all the topics have in common is exactly what Smart Cities is all about, the integrated approach. We request that all demonstration projects should integrate innovative technology and innovative business models. For a very simple reason. We don't want you to develop a fantastic technology and they're saying, well, sorry, the market doesn't like me, the market doesn't take it up. We have enough of those technologies in our reports, in our archives, collecting dust. We want to make sure that you try to solve a problem and not at the end say, I have a solution, but nobody wants it. And then market uptake is also something very difficult. You should clearly look into that. There are many barriers, technical barriers, non-technical barriers, legal barriers, regulatory barriers, and so on. And we want you to have a look at it. If you have a very small regional project, look at your regional barriers. If you have a multinational project, do it with look to the multinational barriers and cross-border trading. It is extremely important. But in that, before I just thank you for your attention, I would like to insist on it. Within smart cities, you have, we write clearly in the text, we want to have lighthouse cities and we want to have follower cities. That clearly means during the evaluation, we will both evaluate how good you are on the lighthouse cities and on the follower cities. Within the electricity distribution system, we have not mentioned it. But when we have two projects of equal quality, we will certainly give preference to those projects that have a large European dimension for a very simple reason. If our financial crisis of today will come to an end and the market will boom, the biggest markets will also sometimes be in those countries which today have the biggest needs to catch up to come to the same level as the strongest countries. With that, I would like to close the discussion and thank you for your attention.
So in my 10 minutes or 8 minutes talk, I will touch a few bases with you. I will sketch, outline why transport and mobility is so important in this, why we have to have this in smart cities. And also, like Jean-Marie, I will give you some alternatives because transport is a very dynamic, exciting area, and maybe some of your ideas, some of your plans do not fit really into the smart cities calls, but can fit into the transport call. Now, why are we in here in smart cities? There's a big policy effort, real targets about lowering congestion, lowering conventional fueled vehicles, cleaning up logistics in our cities. There are many policy initiatives about this. There's the technology plans. We have had a long tradition to work with cities. In Civitas, there have been a number of large-scale projects on buses within the fuel cell initiative, and a number of projects that look at infrastructure, particularly for cars. Now, at the same time, this is an interesting time because we are creating the market for smart city solutions, and particularly the market for smart transport solutions. At the moment in Council and Parliament, we have two big regulatory packages, one Clean Power of Transport, and the next one on sustainable urban mobility plans will come out in January, and these will shape the market for your solutions, for buses, for transport. So where we are here in the smart city is really about creating scale, creating the market, and we can only do this if we work together. And now, we see how we can, and you will probably be able to dream this picture, maybe not in your nightmares, but in your dreams. This is what we want, what we're striving for, this integration in the same location. And this is exactly where Narela opened today with, and I would like to strengthen this idea. If there's only one message that you take home from today is integration, because this is how we create real impact and impact in these topics. Now, if you've looked and read the text of the Smart Cities Call, you've seen that the transport side, the transport part, is very, very focused. We're only talking about alternative fuels. We're only talking about how we can increase the use of those through vehicles, but also through infrastructures. So if you're not going to do something on this in smart cities, then you're outside the scope of the call. ITS is not really into this. If you look at intelligent transport systems, this is not what we would like to do. There are other parts in the Horizon 2020 where we can work on this. So for smart cities, if you take the bold text, it's about integration. We would like to encourage you to work with any type of fuel. This can be hydrogen, electricity, renewables, anything you like. We do not select this for you. You need to see what fits with you. And also, we're looking at issues when you start building scale. So if you have only 5 cycles, electric bikes in your city, then you know that is not really going to impact on your grid. But if you have going to have 200 buses or your whole logistics on hydrogen or on electricity, then this creates impact. And this is exactly where we would like you, where we encourage you, invite you to work on. Yeah? So this is the transport angle in smart cities. Now, I was also asked to spend 2 or 3 minutes on another call, another part of the Smart Cities call, and that is on public procurement. And Sven, in the next speech, will talk to you about the exact topics on public procurement. But in transport, we've had some experience in how to create capacity building and how to stimulate the procurement of innovations in transport. And there's one really interesting example, it's being done at this moment. And this is in the city of Isère and city of Torino. Isère is near Grenoble, and they have 5,000 kilometers of ski slopes, but they also have 5,000 kilometers of roads. And it's very hard for them in wintry conditions to monitor these roads. And so they decided that they wanted to buy new road safety systems. And this is a complex issue. Where do you go to? Where do you buy this? They also said that they want to encourage that SMEs, that small and medium-sized companies, will supply these technologies. So they've come together with these 2 cities and 2 provinces, and their road people, their road engineers, and they have now just published a first joint tender for these applications. The second example, if this works. Sorry. The second example is a network that is led by ICLEI, and last year a new directive that stimulated, encouraged and obliged local councils to buy and to clean up their fleets. And this is the Clean Fleet Directive. Now, this is a big kind of package of law, but how, as a city councillor, how are you going to work with it? How are you going to procure your electric and your hydrogen buses? And this is exactly what ICLEI is doing. They are building networks, they're building capacity, they're looking at case studies, and they're sharing these around. So this could be very inspirational for what we can do in smart cities. Now, in the last 3 minutes of my talk to you, I would like to present a little bit what is happening in transport. So what I said in the beginning, smart cities only looks at a very small part of transport, only about alternative fueled vehicles and infrastructures. But in the transport challenge itself, which is 6.3 billion in the coming 7 years, there are many other opportunities for you. For the urban side, part, there is 100 million in the coming 2 years. We will do a lot of Civitas type things, a lot of city-led demonstration projects. We will look with you at best practices and measuring and innovation to deal with logistics in cities, to deal with congestion in cities. So if you do not feel that the call on smart cities is relevant to you, I would very much encourage you to look at the transport side. And there's a final point, and that is that we have around 75 million just for SMEs that want to innovate in transport. And these can be any solution. So my final slide is really an advice to you about where should I go. If I would like to work on transport, on smart transport, on renewable energies and transport, where should I go? Should I go to the Smart Cities call, or should I go and look at the transport side? And this is just some ideas from the shop floor. So basically, if you are planning to set up a program where you integrate these sectors, then it's Smart Cities. If you want to look at transport per se, or transport with some ICT component, then the Transport Societal Challenge is best. If you want to look at the size, size of the projects, smart city projects are big, and we demand a lot of additional funding, a lot of existing plans around this. In the transport challenge, we are looking for smaller projects, and your plans can be still in a very new or premature stage. Yeah? So we actually help you with setting up your mobility plans. And finally, you can read this here, the types of cities that would be more appropriate for one or the other transport goal, and also what we are looking for in the sense of testing and demonstration. So this is just some indications, guidance for you. Where could you best go? Smart cities as a holistic approach, integrated approach, transport as a going more in depth in all the opportunities and logistics and technologies that are possible. So this is where I would like to leave it. This is a cartoon by Geluk from Belgium. I would very much thank you for your attention. Thank you.
We have supported this already in the past for the predecessor initiative of the Smart Cities Initiative, the Concerto Initiative. And here I wonder if Valerie Barr and Charlotte could just identify themselves, because they are the ones who on our behalf have gathered. Hey Valerie, hi Charlotte. Have gathered from the 58 demonstration sites of the Concerto Initiative, smart energy districts, you could say, all the information, all the data, and produced transferable knowledge from it. And I would recommend you strongly to look at the website. There are the final reports forthcoming, published in January, and there's rich material there on this website in a very thoroughly elaborated technical monitoring database, so you do not need to reinvent the wheel, but have a look at what's being done at district level there on energy efficiency in buildings and renewables, and see how you can take it further from there. And well, you have probably read the call for these lighthouse projects, and you will have noticed that there is a particular mentioning of the need to contribute to monitoring activities by the Commission. And this is really where we want to ensure that we bring information from the many projects together and make it known, and also analyze it, see what things really work and how they perform economically, technically, socially as well. Please have a look at the rich content of the website. Just one more word here on how it works. We will call it the Smart Cities Information System. It's a direct continuation of the Concerto Premium exercise. And you can see here on the top, we will gather information from the different projects of the Smart Cities Call, but also from the still ongoing Concerto projects, but also from the energy efficient buildings projects. I would like to get back to one point that Alex mentioned. He said that part of the call is to find solutions for a quick refurbishment that doesn't really disturb the tenants so much. And there again, in the energy efficient buildings projects, you will find examples for that. For example, the E2Rebuild project did just that. So look at this as well and see what you can use and integrate and carry further in your initiatives. Well, we will feed all the information into a Smart Cities Information System and then digest from it different products, policy recommendations. We will display your projects on a website, so it gives additional visibility for you and your good work. We will have a very thoroughly elaborated technical monitoring database looking really at the different technologies applied, how they interact, how they perform, and a handbook of assessment. And we also have for your help monitoring guidelines. And all this will be targeted at different user groups, different target groups with targeted information formats. And well, you may want to ask what exactly will they expect from us and how much resources will we have to allocate to the monitoring task. And here I would ask you to look at the existing monitoring guidelines for developed in the Concerto Initiative. You will find them all on the website here for economic monitoring, technical monitoring, social monitoring, and also the policy monitoring. We will elaborate that further to really cater for the particular needs of the integration aspect in the smart cities lighthouse projects, but I think it gives you a good idea already to make sure in your proposals you have decent resources allocated to the monitoring tasks. And what do we generate from that? Just to show you a few examples here, for example, on the Concerto demonstration projects, we could generate the energy production costs of different supply units. And, oops, sorry, that's, here. We can have calculated dynamic payback periods for the different projects. You can see a big variation here. But if you look at it thoroughly, you see it's demand-based, the calculation. It's not consumption-based. And this, again, shows us we need to have the monitoring. Here it's 2 years, even better if it's longer in the smart cities projects, to really see, do the technologies perform as planned? Because often they don't. And have a look here, for example. Well, here, this is an interesting slide that shows how the calculated and anticipated performance related to the actual monitored performance. Sometimes it performs better, sometimes it matches, but sometimes it performs worse. And this is interesting to see and then identify why is it like this and what are the reasons, how can we improve it, to also create trust on the side of the users of the technology in these technologies. We will help communicating your work in your projects throughout Europe, for example, by the means of videos which we've produced for the Concerto demonstration project. So have a look at these as well, and collaborate with the Smart Cities Information System. And now, what do we do more to facilitate the rollout of technologies? You may have noticed that there's a call for a common framework for data collection and performance measurements in the call as well. And some may have wondered, how does this relate to the Smart Cities Information System, for which we will launch a call in January as a follow-up to the Concerto Premium initiative. And just to clarify sort of the boundaries, this topic, SCC2, it's not the Smart Cities Information System, because it will only look at in our Smart Cities Information System, we will only look at the energy dimension of lighthouse projects. So we're looking at how do transport technologies perform energy-wise, and the ICT solutions equally. Whereas in the policy areas of transport and ICT, we have policy objectives specific to these different policy areas, and these are really to be monitored in this particular call. And so monitoring progress towards ICT, transport and energy policy targets, and it will only monitor the smart cities projects and not the energy efficient buildings projects. But I encourage you to have a look at the text of the call for the Smart Cities Information System that we launched in January, and then see how you can make sure that there's no replication there in whatever you may want to propose to this particular call. Then let me also say a word on the call SCC4, the Networks of Public Procurers for Smart City Solutions. Henriette has already given us two striking examples on why it is useful to really look at the public procurement needs that may arise in the demonstration projects. So, and this call is really to identify the needs among different purchasers and then see what's on the market there, and really focus on the intersection of the three topic areas and gather existing examples of procurements that exist and help drafting procurement documents to make it easy really for replicators to replicate and to buy these solutions. But it also includes capacity building for procurers and working on the legal aspects of it, economic analysis of the benefits, and also see, when is it useful to procure nationally and when do we need a cross-border action. So, and all this really will help to bring the technologies to mainstream them and to make them really marketable solutions and not only one-off demonstrators. In these consortia for the procurement calls, we expect 10 partners, but reaching out to others. And all partners must be public procurers themselves. And the funding expected is 100,000 to 150,000 euro per project. And it's a 100% funding rate. And well, if we have a total budget of 1 million, that leads to 7 to 10 projects, which should try to cross-fertilize each other. So you may want to allocate a certain amount of resources to the interaction and liaising with other projects there as well. And of course, please liaise with the Smart Cities stakeholder platform, which already today has a database of innovation solutions. So maybe you want to pick some examples from there and elaborate purchasing documents from them. And then also, please liaise with the Lighthouse projects. Well, that's I want to say on how we support the rollout of the technologies and the smart city solutions. So now it's up to you really, to start your own smart city. Thank you very much.
Very recently we had a collaboration with the University of Barcelona. University of Barcelona.
Okay.
Technology was not about the program. I don't know about the prototype.
This advanced department, I am dealing with what we call smart systems. So what do we call a smart system? My labs is called Smart Systems Lab. So what we call a smart system is generally a system which is either managing a lot of smart processes or integrating a lot of smart services or dealing with a lot of smart people. And smart people just means millions of people.
I think this initiative can be an example of collaboration between stakeholders, in particular in Spain, because we are not also collaborating with Valladolid, we are collaborating also with a city that is very close, that the name is Palencia. And in our city we have an initiative that the name is Smart City Valladolid and Palencia, in which there are more than 70 stakeholders involved in order to create a framework for develop smart cities projects or projects that are close to the idea of smart.
These targets and these the baselines, because with the Covenant of Mayors we have the benchmarks of excellence, but we need aggregated targets to compare more and to make more interaction, because this is what we are missing and what we are looking for. And I think the thing that we can provide is an enormously big network, as well for the Covenant as for Climate Alliance itself.
I would like take this moment very briefly to thank everybody involved in the organization of this event. I hope you agree with me that it was very useful, and I hope you found yourself a lot of partners this afternoon. I would like to also specifically take this opportunity, I lost Vleva now, to thank Vleva, the host of today, and also to apologize because we brought in a lot more people than we were allowed to. But you've been all very good and very quiet, so this has been very easy. Going home from this, it's now up to you, preparing your consortia, finding your technologies and your innovations. I hope that Erin has been able to give you a head start over all the others. Thanking you once again for your participation, making this day a success, I think. Thank you.